Nobody wakes up in the morning planning to kill a child. Nobody walks into a job believing that the day will end in sirens, hospital lights, and a silence that can never be undone. And yet, some of the most devastating deaths in modern history were not caused by hatred, cruelty, or intent, but by exhaustion, ignorance, and a few seconds of lost control. Tonight's story is not about a monster. It is not about evil. It is about an ordinary person placed in an ordinary situation and the irreversible consequences that followed. This case has no cold-blooded killer. There is no violent criminal, no substance abuse, no history of aggression hiding in police records. There is no dramatic confrontation, no premeditation, no desire to cause pain. If you were handed the file at the beginning, you would see no warning signs, nothing that suggests a tragedy was inevitable. Instead, the story begins with something far more unsettling: normality. A young woman, a child's bedroom, and a baby who would not stop crying. This is what makes the case so disturbing. There is no clear villain for the audience to hate, no obvious line separating good from evil. From the outside, everything looks harmless, familiar, even comforting. And it is precisely because of that familiarity that this case forces an uncomfortable question onto anyone who listens carefully. Could this have happened to someone like you? She was 22 years old, a college student nearing graduation, balancing coursework with part-time jobs to pay rent and tuition. Babysitting was one of those jobs, temporary, flexible, and, to many people, safe. Her background revealed nothing alarming: no criminal history, no behavioral warnings, no reports of aggression or emotional instability. References described her as quiet, patient, and reliable. Parents trusted her. Families welcomed her into their homes. She had taken care of this particular infant several times before. There were no previous incidents, no injuries, no complaints, nothing to suggest that the child was ever in danger around her. To everyone involved, she was exactly the kind of person you would feel comfortable leaving alone with your baby. And that perception is critical to understanding what happened next. The afternoon started like any other. The baby was 8 months old, healthy, active, and, until that day, relatively easy to soothe. But at some point, the crying began, and it did not stop. At first, she did what any caregiver would do. She checked the diaper, fed the baby, rocked him gently, walked the room, changed positions, spoke softly, sang, waited. Minutes passed, then an hour, then another. The crying continued, unbroken, high-pitched, relentless. There was no fever, no visible injury, no clear explanation, just the sound of distress echoing through a small room as daylight slowly faded and the evening crept in. She was alone. There was no one to relieve her, no one to take over, no one to tell her that stepping away was acceptable. And with each passing minute, the psychological pressure increased. This is the point where many true crime stories begin, but usually without warning. Because what happened next was not driven by rage or malice. It was driven by fatigue. Later, investigators would ask what she was feeling in those moments. Her answer was consistent, repeated quietly throughout the case. "I just wanted the crying to stop." That sentence appears in countless intentional death cases. It is not the language of violence. It is the language of a nervous system overwhelmed beyond its capacity. She did not intend to hurt the baby. She did not think about injury or death. She did not know that an infant's brain is uniquely vulnerable. She had never been educated on shaken baby syndrome. No one had warned her what a few seconds of force could do. In her mind, the act was minor, brief, contained. And that misunderstanding is where tragedy took root. She lifted the baby. She shook him. Not violently, not in anger, but more forcefully than she ever had before. The motion lasted only a few seconds. Then the crying stopped. At first, she felt relief, and then something felt wrong. The baby went limp, his body unresponsive, his eyes unfocused. Panic replaced frustration. She called emergency services immediately, her voice breaking as she told the dispatcher that the baby was not responding. Paramedics arrived quickly. They found no bruises, no cuts, no visible trauma, but inside the skull, damage had already been done. Doctors diagnosed the infant with shaken baby syndrome, a form of traumatic brain injury caused by rapid movement of the head. In infants, the brain is not fully stabilized. The neck muscles are weak, blood vessels are fragile. When shaken, the brain can strike the inside of the skull, tearing veins and causing internal bleeding. There may be no marks on the skin, no broken bones, but the injury is catastrophic. Despite intensive care, swelling continued. The damage was irreversible. 2 days later, doctors declared brain death. The family made the decision to remove life support. The hospital room fell silent. She did not flee. She did not deny what she had done. She repeatedly told investigators that she did not know the risk, and that statement was true. But the law does not measure innocence by intention alone. It asks a single, unforgiving question. Did an action cause a death? The answer was yes. She was charged with manslaughter. The courtroom was divided. Some believed punishment was necessary because a child had died. Others felt the sentence ignored reality, that knowledge, not malice, had been missing. The court reached its verdict. She was found guilty. After serving her sentence, she disappeared from public view. She did not return to childcare. She did not seek attention or sympathy. Those who knew her described a person permanently altered, quiet, withdrawn, haunted. Some sentences never end when prison doors open. Some are carried internally for life. This case is not meant to frighten parents or caregivers. It is not meant to assign hatred or absolution. It exists as a warning. Many fatal mistakes are not made by evil people, but by ordinary individuals pushed beyond their limits without understanding the consequences of their actions. If you had been there, alone, exhausted, uninformed, would you have acted differently? That question has no easy answer. Some crimes are loud, some are brutal, and some are quiet enough to look like accidents until it is too late. This was not a story of intent. It was a story of seconds, and those seconds changed everything.